Today we are going rock hounding. Let me show you. This is our creek. They're already over there checking some stuff out. It's definitely pretty high, but we just had rain for the last couple days, so let's see what we find. So here are just a couple of our finds from the first few minutes in the creek. And this place is just, everything has got fossils in it. Lots of horn coral. This one is a piece of horn coral, but it's very, very worn down, so that one will be really nice tumbled. And this has got these fantastic little star-shaped, oh, out of focus, these fantastic little star-shaped fossils that we have not seen before. So if anybody knows what those are, that would be super cool to find out. This is our second pile. Lots and lots of horn corals. That one's super neat. It's all super neat, but that one's... Show you this one. Can't see my screen. So we found several spots along the creek bed where you could see that turtle egg nests had been dug up and a predator had eaten them, but my sister actually found one that had managed to make it, and it was in the creek. So of course we had to keep it, and we've got it in one of our reptile cages. Hopefully it's going to hatch. Alright, so this is our bag of finds from our creek hike. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start digging through it and seeing what we have. I've got my bowl of water out here because everything always looks prettier when it's nice and wet. So let's see what we got. Apparently I brought the water out for him as well. Alright. So, I've got a couple really big pieces in here. Like this. And I'm honestly not... You're not helping, sir. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It looks like it would have been the base of a coral. But it doesn't look like the typical honeycomb coral that we find around here. It's very smooth on top. It is not... I mean, it's textured, but it's not textured like a honeycomb. So, I'm not going to worry about getting this one wet. You can pretty much see the features in it and everything, which is why we got it. And we have got stuff like this, which is just packed full. Are you helping them see it? You gotta get it wetter than that if you're gonna help. It's just packed full of different fossils, the entire thing. Looks like there are everything from shells to branch coral, probably some fan coral in there. Let's see what it looks like when we get it wet. You guys will be able to see what I mean by everything looks better when it's wet. It just kind of accents everything more. So that one's pretty neat. This one was a fantastic find by my niece. Just the way that they are laid together is absolutely perfect. So neat. You can see the inner structure of the horn coral. The place that we went to was absolutely packed with horn corals. You could just find them left and right. So we've got a lot of those. I can go through and kind of just pick them out of here to show you guys the crazy extent of horn corals. And we can usually find them in this general area, Southeastern Indiana. Just about everywhere that we go rock hounding. Just not always as abundant as this place that we ended up going to. And I really like taking horn corals, especially ones that don't look really fantastic, like that one, and just putting them in the rock tumbler with some light grit. And they're actually a fairly soft fossil, but it'll go ahead and it'll take away like all of this really rough looking stuff on the outside so that you can see all of the beautiful striations from the inner structure of it, and it'll kind of end up looking like that. I don't know how well in focus that is, but I feel like my camera's more focused on my dog right now than my horn coral. But these are the mini horn corals that we ended up finding. That is another piece of a fossilized coral of sorts. Not sure what kind. We were actually initially thinking that it could be petrified wood, but I think we kind of changed our mind on that. And just about everything in the area that we were in has mica in it, and so everything is very, well, it's all shiny right now because it's wet, but everything has a lot of really pretty flecks of the mica. Let's see, we've got a couple pieces like this. And these ones are neat because we were thinking about going ahead and making them into some sort of structure with epoxy, like whether it would be a tabletop or a lamp. I mean, just there's so many different ideas on what you can do with epoxy nowadays, but we just recently started getting into it, and you can see the areas in these like this, and most of them have been fossilized and turned into a quartz. And so we've got all these amazing structures in these that are completely, I think there's a nice line of quartz in there. There's one. But yeah, they're just completely filled in with quartz mineral. So it's really neat. We really like these ones. That's why we got a couple of them. Let's see. Another big piece of coral. These are just really neat looking pieces that we liked, so we grabbed a couple of them. Let's see. Some honeycomb. I don't think there were some big pieces of honeycomb, but I don't think we grabbed any sizable ones. But the honeycomb coral is really neat because you can see, maybe if it'll focus, you can actually see the honeycomb structure in them, and the bottoms are really neat, especially when you have a side section like that, because you can see the inner structure of the coral itself. So that one will be really, really fantastic to get cleaned up, and maybe just put a not a lacquer, but it's a spray can of like a top coat kind of deal on this, and so it'll keep it looking like this all the time rather than what it looks like when it's dry, which it's still very pretty, but it's not as appealing. So let's see, we got more horn corals, and we've got some shells. The shells that we found are really nice. So there's a couple different shells that we've got here. A lot of them are these flat type shells. That one I actually thought was really funny because it almost looks like the whole shell, except that this is one end of one shell, and then this is one end of the other shell. So it's actually two separate ones that have been compressed together. But they are really, really neat, especially when they're in this state where they've been fossilized with quartz. They're very, very pretty. You can see a lot of the lines from the actual shell structure and everything. And we've got quite a few of these. They're just really, really pretty. Some large ones. This one's actually, so it's a whole bunch of shells that have been compressed together. And the top's not very pretty, but the underside absolutely is. So that one's really neat. And then the other ones, oops, got another one. This one's got some really nice lines in it. You can actually feel the ridges in this one, which is kind of rare because a lot of times, especially when they're in creek beds, you end up not having that anymore just because it gets worn away from the constant flow of water and rocks and sand and everything rushing over them, especially when there's floods and high waters and stuff like that. So that one's really cool. And you can see the inside of that one really well. I'm not sure what the name is for those specific kinds of shells. These other ones that I have, if I remember correctly, I think that these ones are all called bivalves. And these ones are just really neat to find whole, because a lot of times you don't. A lot of time you end up finding only half of the structure. Like these ones, these have been compressed together. But finding the whole ones is really neat, even if they've got a little bit of matrix still on them. Matrix is the rocks and minerals and stuff that was compressed around them when they were being fossilized. Let's see, this one, oh, this is another horned coral, but this is the largest one I've ever seen my entire life. And so my mom picked this one up and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, that is massive. And I mean, you can just see the size of it in comparison to, you know, even one of the biggest of the other ones that we found. Like, that's a beast. So that one is really, really cool. Just mainly because of its size. It's got a shell pressed into it in the bottom there. Just some matrix right there on the side of it. But that one is really nice. I wish you could see more of the inner structure of it, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. This is a nice piece of, looks like, well, I was going to say it looks like it might be honeycomb coral, but I don't think so. I think it's just a different type of coral. But there's that one. And again, it's got a lot of quartz material on it, in it, around it. There was a lot of chert that we found, and the chert in this area is really, really pretty. It's got some nice, vibrant colors. I really like tumbling chert, just because of what it ends up looking like. So you got some pretty nice variations in the colors. There, you can see it really well on that side. This one has got chert with, it looks like a little bit of the quartz mixed in with it. That one would probably actually be fairly translucent. We have really, really bright lights that we use, and we'll just shine it through the bottom of it and see if they are translucent. My mom actually has a UV light as well, so that we can see if we have different rocks and minerals that are bioluminescent. Those ones are really, really cool. I think it's called bioluminescent. I could be wrong. But the minerals and stuff in the rocks actually react to the UV light. Hey, no. Oh, you butt. He just stole a rock. He stole one of my pieces of chert. We call him Rock Biter because that's what he does. He will steal rocks. These are just a couple more pieces of the super compressed fossils. That side's not as pretty, but pretty sure is petrified wood. Looks very much like it, but again, could be wrong. We are not experts. We are just constantly learning as we go. My mom's got a bunch of books and stuff on fossils and whatnot that you can find in this area, the north central United States in general. So if I happen to be wrong on any of these, you guys can definitely let me know, and I'll try and keep it corrected in future videos. But we're still learning constantly, always learning. Oh, we got these little bitty guys. Where'd it go? So we really like when we end up finding crinoid stems. And this place, while it didn't have a lot, there were some that we found, like this big old piece that you can see the inner structure of it. It almost looks like a backbone, but we're pretty sure that that is a crinoid stem. They were almost like these great big underwater flowers, but they were considered animals. So that's a really big example of a crinoid stem. And then we managed to find the exact opposites, and we found these crinoid stems. Little tiny babies, but they are absolutely perfect. You can see their rings and the structure and everything. It's so pretty. So, of course, we kept those, and we'll have to put those in a very, very safe place, because otherwise we will either A, break them, or B, lose them. So, stop stealing my rocks. They're mine. They're not meant for you, sir. Let's see. I think everything else in here is just kind of duplicates of what we have already found and went through. We've got a couple pieces of, looks like the inside of geodes, which is kind of weird because they don't actually have the outer structure on them anymore. I guess that could be the outer structure of that one. But you don't typically see them with just the inner part. So those ones are kind of neat. You can see there's some like double terminated crystals and stuff like that in some of them. This one's actually got one right there. There were some really nice shells. My niece really likes finding shells, so we got a couple of those. There are some pieces of, is that really the only one in here? Just different pieces of rocks, ranging from chert to quartz. You can see the different colors and all of those. I'm not really sure what mineral or material that one is, but those ones are always really neat to find. That one would be 100% translucent, put up to the sun or a light. And I think that one is a piece of chert. Pretty sure. It's just a very nice, pretty red. Oh, this one just had an interesting structure inside of it, and I've never seen anything like this. So it's like oval shaped here, and it wraps all the way around to there, and so you can actually see inner structure to that one and everything. That one's kind of cool. Alright, and then the rest of that out of the way. Then we have got these that were found at a completely separate location. I had me a dinner date, so afterwards we went hiking and inevitably found a creek to go find some more fossils in. So it was pretty fantastic. There's some amazing chert that he ended up finding, and this one will be absolutely stunning to go ahead and put in the tumbler. It's got a lot of the quartz-looking crystalline in it, and then just some really fantastic colors. Got some nice red going through the top up here, and the really dark color, oranges, browns. I think the gray parts would be very translucent, but would have to actually check it out to be able to tell for sure. We were talking about the crinoid stems earlier, and actually found a nice big crinoid stem. This one's in pretty good shape. You can see the structure of it pretty well. And my mom has a tile saw that she has got a lapidary blade for, and so some of these we will actually go ahead and we will cut them so that we can see the inner structure and see what they look like when they are split in half. That's always a lot of fun. This one is a honeycomb. It's just a very odd honeycomb, because usually you see them in whole pieces, but this one's actually missing some. It's got some holes. See? But it was a really neat, interesting piece. So I was like, ooh, we gotta keep that one. Of course. Of course, horn coral. It's inevitable. Horn corals everywhere around here. This one you can see the structure of it really nicely. Got a little bit of matrix on that one. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. A couple pieces of really nice quartz with different colors. This creek actually had a lot more pieces like this with the multicolored quartz than the initial place that we went. It does still have a lot of mica in it, so very, very sparkly. Yeah, those ones are just really pretty. Those ones will be really nice tumbled as well. We do plan on getting an Etsy shop up and going so that we can go ahead and we can sell a bunch of our finds. Anybody who does like stone jewelry or like wire wrap jewelry, anything like that, these would be fantastic pieces for that kind of stuff. Little bitty shells. Those ones are just kind of cute. I like those. The underside's not pretty at all, but that side's neat. This is a full shell that we ended up finding. Love those. We have a lot of those. A lot of those. That's another really nice piece of honeycomb coral, actually. Oh, and you can see the structure in it really well. Those are super neat. We've got some rather large pieces of honeycomb coral, and I want to go ahead and I want to get them cleaned up really well. And they will probably end up being display items that will either be put outside and go along my walkway, or may go ahead and put that kind of lacquer coating on them so that they stay nice and shiny. And they might just be like display pieces that I put on my porch or something like that. So I'll end up finding out eventually what we're going to do with them. This was probably the coolest find of the day. My mom assures me that it is petrified, or not petrified, it is fossilized. I don't know what kind of tooth it is, but that is a tooth. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, look, look, look! It was great. I was so happy to find this. So if anybody out there knows what kind of tooth this is, again, Southeast Indiana, that's the area that I am in, and I was rockhounding. So if you guys can tell me what kind of tooth I have here, that would be fantastic. Alright, I am actually going to go ahead and... Where's that one? Oh, that one was just really neat. I don't know what that one is, but it was just cool looking. So, grab that. But I actually want to go ahead and I want to grab one of my really big pieces of honeycomb coral and show you guys just the extent of how big these can actually be. Up until just this year, I'd only ever found like smaller pieces, like can fit in my hands like this. And we went on a hike on an abandoned railroad grade earlier this year, and this railroad grade ends up going through the hill, and so they had to go ahead, they had to blast it out. Well, this hill was absolutely packed full of geodes and fossils, lots and lots of different kinds of ancient sea creatures and stuff like that. So let me grab one of these big pieces and I'm going to show you what we got. Okay, so this is the biggest piece that we have, and as you can see, it is very large. Haven't really actually done anything with it since we got it home. You can see that there are other fossils in it as well. Got some shells in there. And so this would be the upper part of it that would have been facing the sun. And then down here, you can see how it kind of tapers. And this would have been the side that was actually essentially kind of rooted in the floor of the sea. But I absolutely love these. These are stunning pieces. I really do need to be learning more about them when they were around and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and share this with you guys because I love it. Alright, well, that is our rocks for today. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get all my editing and stuff done so you guys can check this out. And I've got some work to do on moving my my chickens' temporary run that is outside of their coop. And so I'm going to actually go ahead and get that done today. I might do a video on it, I'm not 100% sure yet. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you again later.